House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
Very fittingly, it is the back end of the show, and we are on the back end of a fascinating discussion about a new public law. It is in effect today, so it affects you and I if you are a landlord or tenant. Liz and Gina are two queens, are sirens of everything real estate. Half a day, ladies.
Half a day, Jason.
Welcome back. Okay, this is fascinating because as we talked about last week, lots of things now govern the landlord-tenant relationship, but we literally just touched the tip of the iceberg because there's a lot more that people need to know.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, what are we dealing with?
Well, one of the things landlords need to be aware of is the return of their security deposit, because normally they will take 1 month's rent at the front end and the 1 month security deposit. So at the end of the lease term, of course, they normally do an inspection, and if there are any issues with the unit, such as cleaning, that will have to be deducted. But any receipts or cleaning, whatever, would have to be in writing. And then the deposit has to be returned within a 14-day window. I mean, you could return it in 10 days, but as long as it does not exceed the 14-day window.
Yeah, it's very clear.
It's very clear. And
14 working days.
Working days. And
okay.
if they return it after that 14-day window, it's a penalty of 3 times the value.
Ouch.
Yeah, so if it's a $2,000 security deposit, then they could be penalized $6,000.
Okay, that's the perfect word, penalized, because Gina, I'd love your feedback on this, because I'm wondering now that this is public law, if either the landlord or the tenant has a grievance or a discrepancy, maybe before they call the Better Business Bureau, they call the Attorney General's Office for Consumer Protection, but now, do they call it GPD? Do they, they can bring this to a judge? Because now it's against the law if somebody messes up.
It's a legal issue, so you take it up with your attorney. You can go try to file small claims. I'm not sure if this will be covered under small claims, but you could do that. Those are your options.
You send somebody to a collection agency? Or
I don't believe so, because the law says it has to be judicial. It has to be a judicial order. So you basically need to contact your attorney or go to small claims yourself. I would suggest that, I'm old school. I suggest you sit down with your landlord first and negotiate. Because you go to your attorney, nobody works for free. So you go to your attorney, of course there's going to be costs there. But the law does say that if you're correct and the landlord failed to give you that refund in a timely manner, 14 working days, or maybe gave you the refund but didn't attach all the written receipts, all the invoices,
the invoices for repairing the wall.
And it's very specific. It says it has to be in writing and attached so that the tenant could see what was deducted. So you can't just give them a check and say, well, I took this and that out. No, it's got to be in writing and submit it to the tenant.
And because now it is an illegal activity, if you fail to live up to that, that'll be on your record too.
But I think what we want to advise the landlords,
a misdemeanor, I would assume.
I want to advise the landlords also that right when you do an exit inspection, you should get things in place right away, because normally if you get a contractor, it might take 2 to 3 days for them to get back to you in terms of a quote for repairs or whatever.
Or for cleaning.
And for cleaning. And nowadays it's even difficult to find a contractor, difficult to find a cleaner. So as soon as you do your exit inspection, the best thing to do is start getting your quotes, if that's applicable at that time, and then put that stuff together and formulate a letter stating that this is your security deposit, we're deducting X amount, and herewith is attached the receipts. You want to document everything and do it within that window of time.
Now, keep in mind, we're going through very, very small pieces of this regulation, right? This
That's
law.
right.
People need to go online and get a copy, or call somebody at the legislature and get a copy.
Actually, they can go online.
They can go online.
Yeah,
that's how we did it.
And it's very simple to do. They've got a great website.
And we're just touching little bits and pieces.
Now that being said, I have not read the law myself, but does it make any considerations for pets? And has that arrangement been?
It does define that the pet deposit cannot be more than $500 per pet. And that's the only thing that's stated about pets.
Is that what it was before, the ceiling? Or is that something?
It was negotiable.
It was negotiable.
And our pets, I mean, because pets, again, are kind of broadly defined. You could have could you have a horse? Could you have, you know, like, which is obviously very, very different than if you have like a small parakeet, if you have like a salamander.
Anything you define as a pet, but it says pet deposit no more than $500.
Any non-human being, as we talked about like last week, any non-human being that would be considered a permanent resident of the property
is a pet.
Is a pet.
I'm glad you define non-human being.
Non-human being.
But how long does this have to be? Because people very often, they do pet sitting. And they're like, oh, I'm going to, you know, one of my friends is off on a business trip, so I'm going to watch his dog for 2 months. Could I incur?
That's a good question. I don't think this law defines that.
It wasn't defined in the law.
Yeah.
But of course,
there's no
I would think they would have to contact the landlord and say, because it depends on what was in the lease. Was a pet included? If a pet was not included, he's going to have to contact the landlord and say, hey, I'm pet sitting. Is this okay? You need to get their approval.
Okay.
And there's another thing in the law that I think is quite important. It's how do you deliver notices to your tenant? And it's very specific, certified mail or witnessed. It's got to be witnessed. So like, you go with me, Jace, we're serving Liz. You stand there, you witness that I actually delivered that.
Can we go have coffee first? Because I know you're a great coffee person.
Yeah, I'll treat to coffee.
Oh, and you're there you go.
Treat. But it's very specific, and we feel like certified mail is probably your best option in regards to this law.
Okay, well,
so you can prove delivery.
Tell you what, you guys always inspire me, but now you've motivated me to actually go read a bill.
Yeah,
which is something I'm very looking forward to. So you too, everybody should do that. Thank you, ladies, as always. We really appreciate the information. This was fantastic.
Thank you.
And please go read that bill. You can find the link right now on our YouTube channel for where you need to go and educate yourself. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next time.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E.